The livestock industry produces products ranging from meat, milk, and eggs to numerous other non-food products, such as leather goods. The four main sectors, beef, dairy, poultry, and swine, have unique production systems with differences in housing, breeding, feeding, and marketing. These have resulted in a high degree of specialization within each sector. This videotape will provide an overview of each. Beef cattle normally represent the red meat industry, but the dairy industry contributes to the supply of red meat as well. From the beef industry comes steak, hamburger, and other red meat products. The smaller segment of the red meat industry is veal calves and culled dairy cows. However, cattle bred specifically for beef production provide most of the red meat consumed. Beef producers operate within an open market system. Producers determine the size of their herds based on market conditions. The three major types of beef production are cow-calf production, feedlot production, and stocker production, or backgrounding. Some producers combine these operations on one farm. Others specialize in one area of production. In cow-calf production, producers maintain breeding herds of cows that produce calves and sell the calves after weaning. Weaning is the point when they are separated from their mother. In feedlot production, producers raise weaned calves to their final market weight. A feedlot is a confined area where producers provide stored feeds to the cattle. In stocker production, producers raise weaned calves on pasture or low-quality feeds before sending them to the feedlot. The western provinces, particularly Alberta and Saskatchewan, and to a lesser degree Manitoba, are the primary beef cattle production areas. Over 75% of the beef cows in Canada are found in these three provinces. Of all the cattle raised to market weight or finished in Canada, Alberta accounts for 50%. The West has many production advantages over the rest of Canada. These include the low cost of feed due to large amounts of readily available grains and access to thousands of acres of pasture. Western cow-calf operations often utilize natural shelter provided by trees and wooded areas to protect the cattle from the elements. Western feedlot operations are also designed with minimal shelter. As a result, many Western operations are very large, some having as many as 40,000 head of cattle, with large pens that hold 50 to 300 head each. Ample meat packing and processing facilities in Alberta ensure Western producers of a strong market for their cattle. Ontario has about 10% of the beef cows in Canada. Western producers ship additional calves to Ontario for finishing. As a result, Ontario has about 20% of the finished cattle in Canada. Because of the large acreages required for the production of forages, cow-calf production in all parts of Canada is considered a land-based operation. Typically, cows graze pasture in the summer and consume stored feeds, such as large round bales, in the winter. Some cow-calf operators allow the cows to range on crop residues in the winter. In some cases, natural protection provides the only shelter for cows and calves. In areas where weather conditions are more severe, an open-sided barn provides additional shelter. A cow-calf operator's goal is to produce one calf per cow per year. Most producers use spring calving, meaning cows give birth in the spring. Before cows are ready to give birth, the producer moves them to a smaller area in order to monitor the calving and ensure a healthy start. Nursing calves spend the summer on pasture with the cows. Producers supplement pasture with salt and mineral blocks. A calf born in the fall remains with the cows through the winter. Producers feed these cows good quality forage and some grain over winter to ensure that they are in good condition for rebreeding and the next calving. Producers ear tag the calf shortly after birth to accurately identify it. They also dehorn the young calves to ensure cattle and handler safety, and some producers castrate male calves to minimize aggressive behavior. A castrated male calf is called a steer. A young female calf is called a heifer. In order to produce one calf per year, cows are rebred while still nursing, generally 2 to 3 months after calving. Natural breeding of beef cows is the method most used in the beef industry. Artificial insemination plays a small role. Beef producers use one bull to breed with 25 to 30 cows over a 2-month breeding period. Some operators restrict the length of the breeding period to ensure that the calves sold at weaning the following year are uniform in age and weight. Beef calves nurse for 6 to 8 months before they are separated from the cow or weaned. Normally, all calves are weaned at one time, but producers may decide to wean some early, particularly if the cow is thin. Early weaning allows the cow to return to good physical condition before her next calving. Producers adjust the feeding program to ensure that cows are not too fat or too thin for calving and rebreeding. Most calves enter a feedlot directly after weaning. These are feeder calves. Some producers raise smaller, under-conditioned calves to a heavier weight on a high-fiber ration before they enter a feedlot. These calves are called stockers. Spring-born calves, weaned in the fall, may be fed stored roughages like hay, haylage, or corn silage over winter. Stocker calves born in the fall may go directly onto pasture at weaning in the spring. The stockers consume high-fiber rations for a few months. These 12-month-old calves enter the feedlot as yearlings. Weight gains are more rapid in feedlots, where producers provide high grain rations to the cattle. Feeder calves that enter the feedlot directly after weaning reach market sooner than those that enter as yearlings. When calves arrive at the feedlot, producers examine them for overall condition. They house sick animals separately for treatment and observation. Some producers vaccinate, deworm, and treat the calves for external parasites. Additional treatments help the calves better convert feed into lean tissue growth. Safe handling facilities are essential to all beef operations to ensure safe and efficient processing of cattle. The basic components of a handling system include a crowding pen to direct animals into a specific area or chute, a chute to confine animals for treatment like vaccinations, and a head gate to further restrict the animal. Producers also use an inclined loading chute with solid sides to assist in handling. Storage and handling of feed is another major component of beef cattle production systems. Beef producers store dry grains like corn and barley in large grain bins. They use tower, bunk, or pit silos for high moisture feeds such as corn silage and haylage, and they often use large round bales for hay. Beef producers and feed industry personnel formulate feed rations for the cattle. This ensures the animals receive the proper balance of feed to meet their nutrient requirements. Feedlot managers often target very specific markets for their cattle. They specialize in one size, calves or yearlings, and one type of animal, steers or heifers. They use a feeding program based on the desired market weight and the growth potential of the cattle, determined by their sex and frame size. Producers aim to raise cattle to an optimum weight and grade. When cattle reach this optimum weight and grade, they are considered finished. The beef cattle grading system rewards producers for carcasses that have a maximum lean meat yield and a minimum amount of fat. Modern breeds with a medium frame size like the Hereford or the Angus finish at about 450 to 500 kilograms, or 1,000 to 1,100 pounds. Large-framed or so-called exotic cattle, like the Charolais or the Simmental, are marketed at a heavier weight, 570 kilograms, or 1,250 pounds. In addition to frame size, feeding and management affect the ideal market weight. Also, heifers finish sooner than steers, and are usually shipped to market at lighter weights. Another segment of the red meat industry is veal. The primary source of veal is bob calves. These are young male dairy calves that have been weaned early. Producers raise veal for two different markets, the white veal market and the red veal, sometimes called baby beef market. In white veal production, producers use individual pens and feed calves a milk-based liquid diet to a weight of 150 kilograms, or 330 pounds. This produces a tender white meat. In the second type of veal production, producers raise bob calves for the red veal market. These calves consume liquids as well as grains to market weights of 250 to 295 kilograms, or 550 to 650 pounds. For both types of veal, producers house young calves individually, either indoors or outdoors in hutches. This helps to minimize the spread of disease among calves. Producers move 6 to 10-week-old calves to group pens. Another source of red meat is the culled dairy cows. These cows, no longer suitable for milk production, provide lean meat which is ideal for hamburger. The Canadian red meat industry supplies a wide variety of products for economy-minded consumers and those demanding high-quality premium cuts of meat. Milk, butter, cheese, and other items are all products of the dairy industry. The Canadian dairy industry is regulated by a supply management system. The supply management system maintains stability in the marketplace to ensure consumers a steady supply of high-quality products. It also ensures efficient producers a return on their management, investment, and labor. The supply managed system is controlled by both national agencies and provincial milk marketing boards. Individual producers hold quotas, which determine the amount of milk they are allowed to produce. Canada is recognized worldwide as a producer of first-class dairy cattle. Intensive genetic selection of breeding stock, made possible by widespread use of artificial insemination, has resulted in this global recognition. The Canadian industry is concentrated in Ontario and Quebec. These two provinces produce over 70% of the country's total milk production. The Holstein is the breed of choice for Canadian producers. Other producers use breeds such as Guernsey, Ayrshire, Jersey, or Brown Swiss. However, these breeds make up a very small portion of the industry. In the dairy industry, the calf is a secondary product to the milk being produced. Dairy cows are bred to calve once every 12 to 13 months. After each calf is born, the cow produces milk for approximately 10 months, or 305 days. At peak production, these cows may produce as much as 45 or 50 kilograms, or approximately 110 pounds of milk per day. There are two major types of housing used for dairy cattle: tie stall and free stall. The most common system in Ontario is the tie stall system. Here, cows occupy individual stalls and are secured by a neck chain or metal stanchion. Cows in tie stalls are fed and milked while in the stall. At milking time, the operator moves a portable milking unit from cow to cow. Typically, producers allow these cows a daily exercise period and provide them access to pasture in summer. Producers provide bedding in the stalls to ensure comfort and cleanliness of the cows. The most common form of bedding used is straw. A gutter at the back of the stall expedites manure removal. A mechanical gutter cleaner moves manure to an external storage system. Dairy farmers with large herds often make use of a freestall housing system. In this system, cows move about and have access to feed as a herd from bunk feeders. The bunk feeder allows group feeding and is ideal for automated feed delivery. Cows have access to a stall where they can rest quietly, away from the herd. In freestall systems, producers milk the cows in a milking parlor. Cows enter the parlor where an operator sets up and monitors the milking process. When milking is completed, the milking machine releases automatically. Automated gates allow the cows to exit the parlor when milking is complete. Then the next cows enter. The actual milking process is essentially the same in both housing systems. Dairy producers milk the cows twice a day at approximately 12-hour intervals. Milking machines simulate the traditional hand milking method by applying a gentle massaging action to the teat. This causes milk to be released into the milking unit. The milk moves via pipeline to a bulk storage tank in the milk house. Sanitation procedures help ensure high-quality milk. Before milking, the operator washes and disinfects the teats. After milking, they sanitize the milking machines and the pipeline. Dairy farmers store milk on the farm in a refrigerated bulk tank. Every other day, the milk truck arrives to pick up the stored milk. The truck driver is a licensed milk grader who grades each batch of milk and takes samples for testing. The Provincial Dairy Inspection Branch monitors milk quality by testing for composition of milk, added water, somatic cell count, and the presence of antibiotics. In addition, provincial agencies regularly monitor each cow's milk production and provide the producer with detailed records for evaluating herd performance. One of the major costs in dairy production is the production and storage of feed. High-producing dairy cows need large quantities of exceptional quality feed. Dairy producers use silos for storage of high-moisture feeds such as silage, haylage, and high-moisture grain. Some use airtight silos to maximize feed quality. Dairy producers use substantial amounts of dry hay. This may be in the form of square bales or large round bales stored indoors to maintain quality. The dairy producer and feed industry personnel formulate feed rations to meet milk production requirements. Producers purchase commercial protein and mineral supplements to add to their homegrown feeds. Lactation, the period during which the cow produces milk, lasts about 10 months or 305 days. Daily milk production peaks 60 to 80 days after calving and slowly declines for the remaining 7 months of lactation. Then, 2 months before the cow is to calve again, she is dried off or no longer milked and removed from the milking herd. This allows a resting period before the next lactation. Producers house dry or non-lactating cows in groups or individually. As a dry cow requires fewer nutrients, her feeding program is changed to supply enough nutrients to maintain her body condition and the developing fetus. At the start of the dry period, farmers treat the cow with an antibiotic to prevent mastitis. Mastitis is a common infection of the mammary gland. If unchecked, the mastitis infection causes damage to the udder and a significant reduction in milk production. The dairy farmer moves the expectant cow to a maternity pen several days before calving. Cows usually calve unassisted, but many farmers attend the cow during delivery to assist if necessary. Newborn calves remain with the cow for 12 to 24 hours. During this time, and up to the 3rd day after calving, calves need colostrum, a nutrient-rich milk that the cow produces immediately following calving. The operator must also milk the cow during this time, as the amount of colostrum produced is greater than what the calf needs. The colostrum has a different composition than milk and is not shipped with the milk for human consumption. Colostrum is stored on site and can be fed to other calves. The cow rejoins the milking herd after her milk composition returns to normal. The calf remains on a liquid diet for about 8 weeks. Dairy producers generally sell 1 to 2-week-old bull calves to veal producers. They raise females or heifer calves as potential replacements for the dairy cow herd. In most herds, operators replace 20 to 30% of the mature cows each year with pregnant heifers. After a heifer gives birth to her first calf, she is then termed a cow. Young calves are often raised in individual pens or outdoor hutches. At about 8 weeks of age, the calves are weaned off the liquid diet. At this point, the heifers are moved to group pens. Producers adjust the heifer's feeding program and monitor their growth. This way, they ensure that heifers reach the desired size for breeding by 15 months. Following a 9-month gestation period, the 2-year-old heifers calve. This schedule ensures optimum lifetime production of milk. An extensive network of quality control checks assures consumers have safe, nutritious dairy products. The modern Canadian dairy farm is part of a highly technical agricultural industry. The Canadian poultry industry, like the dairy industry, operates within a supply management system. Quota-controlled production of eggs, chickens, and turkeys is an integral part of the supply management system. The poultry industry is divided into several major segments: chickens raised for meat production, layers raised for table egg production, turkeys raised for meat, and breeder flocks that produce fertile eggs for hatcheries. Hatcheries sell the day-old birds to meat and egg producers. Ontario and Quebec poultry producers are responsible for 2/3 of chicken meat production, over half of table egg production, and 3/4 of turkey production in Canada. Canadian poultry are raised almost exclusively in environmentally controlled buildings, where producers can control temperature and light. Most producers, particularly those raising poultry for meat, use multi-storied buildings to reduce energy and land costs. The majority use commercially prepared feeds. Others use on-farm mixing systems. Many aspects of poultry production, such as feed and water delivery systems, temperature and light control, are automated. With these systems, a backup generator is a necessity. Disease is easily spread from one poultry barn to another. Visitors, as well as employees, must adhere to strict health and security guidelines. Disease control is especially important in breeder flock operations. The goal of a breeder flock operator is to maximize production of fertile hatching eggs. Producers house 8 to 10 roosters, males, with each 100 hens, females, housed in the barn. All hens lay in clutches. This means they lay an egg each day for several days. Then they cease laying for 1 or 2 days, before beginning the next clutch of eggs. Clean eggs are critical for high hatchability. Breeder flock operators ensure cleanliness by encouraging hens to lay in the nests as opposed to on the floor, by regularly inspecting and cleaning the nests, and by gathering the eggs frequently, a minimum of 4 times per day. Breeder flock personnel clean the hatching eggs, discard any misshapen or cracked eggs, and ship the high-quality eggs to a commercial hatchery. At the hatchery, chicken eggs incubate for 21 days. Hatchery personnel monitor and adjust the environmentally controlled incubators to regulate temperature, humidity, oxygen, and carbon dioxide levels. Turkey eggs require 28 days in the incubator. Young chickens are called chicks. Young turkeys are poults. After the chick or poult eggs hatch, processing crews vaccinate the birds and sort them according to sex. Then the hatchery ships the meat-type chicks to a broiler or a roaster producer who raises the chickens for meat production. The egg-type chicks go to growers raising the birds for table egg production. Turkey poults go to either turkey broiler or heavy turkey producers, raising turkeys for meat production. To prepare the barn for day-old birds, growers clean and disinfect all equipment. They spread wood shavings or chopped straw on the barn floor as litter for birds raised on the floor. They check and pre-start heaters and lower the waterers and feeders. Some producers provide supplementary waterers and feed for the first few days after placing the birds in the barn to prevent dehydration and starvation among the young birds. Day-old chicks and poults require barn temperatures of 29 to 32 degrees Celsius or 84 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. In Canada, producers provide supplementary heaters to ensure adequate barn temperatures. A popular type of heater is the radiant tube heater, fired with either propane or natural gas. Producers locate these heaters at ceiling level to ensure an even distribution of heat. In turkey barns and some chicken broiler barns, operators use gas or propane-fired brooders, covered heaters positioned near floor level. In this type of system, producers confine the birds to areas close to the brooder for the first 2 weeks to ensure that they receive adequate heat and are able to readily locate the water and feed. Producers observe the birds' behavior to determine whether the temperature should be adjusted. If birds are chilled, they will huddle together near the heat source. If they are too warm, they will move away from the heat source. Each week, as the birds grow, producers reduce the temperature by 3 degrees Celsius, or 5 degrees Fahrenheit, per week until room temperature is approximately 21 degrees Celsius, or 70 degrees Fahrenheit. They provide young birds with feed in crumble form and give older birds a pelleted feed. A chain or auger system delivers the feed to the feed pans throughout the barn. Producers raising birds on the floor use various types of waterers. These include automated devices such as bell drinkers, nipple drinkers, swish cups, or troughs. When necessary, producers can provide medication to the entire flock through the water system. While many systems such as heating, ventilation, feed, and water are automated, poultry managers must still regularly monitor their flocks. At least twice a day, they walk through the barn to check the equipment and observe the birds. Producers raise the male and female chicken broilers separately. They ship females, or pullets, at about 1.7 kilograms, or 3.7 pounds, at 40 days. They ship males, or cockerels, at 2.0 kilograms, or 4.4 pounds, at 42 days. Others raise the male chickens as roasters to 2.8 kilograms, or 6.2 pounds, by 50 days. Broiler and roaster producers typically use an all-in, all-out system. This means all the birds placed on one day are subsequently shipped on 1 or 2 days. Processors require birds of a specific weight. For this reason, producers aim to raise a flock that is uniform in weight. Most ship the birds at night because poultry are easier to handle in low light. Catching crews catch and load the birds. Producers then clean and disinfect the equipment and the empty barns. They ensure the buildings are dry and warm before the next flock arrives. Some birds are bred specifically for egg production. In Canada, over 95% of egg producers use hybrid varieties of the white leghorn breed, which produce white eggs. Brown eggs come from other breeds like the Rhode Island Red and the barred Plymouth Rock. Young or immature layers are called replacement pullets. Producers raise day-old replacement pullets on the floor like broilers or in cages. Regardless of the type of housing used, producers monitor body weight of the pullets weekly throughout the growing period. The goal of the pullet producer is to raise the flock to a uniform weight and maturity. This helps optimize the future egg production of the flock. At about 18 weeks, producers sell the replacement pullets or transfer them to layer operations. Egg producers house laying hens in cages. Cages provide a clean environment for the laying hen, and they help prevent some diseases transferred in floor litter. Sloped cage floors ensure the eggs roll to a tray or conveyor, preventing damage by the hens. This also facilitates egg collection. Producers provide either a crumble or a mash feed in a trough at the front of the cage. They fill the troughs manually or with automated feed delivery systems. They also provide water in cups or nipple drinkers. Producers gather eggs twice per day, either manually or with the aid of automated conveyor belt systems. Laying hens require increasing day length to initiate the onset of egg production. Before sexual maturity, producers maintain total light exposure at less than 10 hours per day. Pullets reach sexual maturity, when they are capable of laying eggs, at 18 to 20 weeks. At this time, managers gradually increase the exposure to light to over 14 hours per day. This stimulates the flocks into egg production. Flocks reach peak production at about 26 weeks of age. At peak production, it is possible for up to 95% of the flock to lay an egg each day. The level of egg production drops to about 70% after 11 to 12 months of laying, and the entire flock is marketed for further processing. These birds are called spent fowl. Like broiler growers, egg producers use an all-in, all-out system. This enables producers to clean and disinfect the barn before the next flock arrives. Producers raise turkeys for meat production using a production system similar to broiler chickens. With turkey production, producers pay extra attention to all aspects of management, as turkeys are more susceptible than chickens to disease. There are 3 markets for turkeys: broilers, hen or female turkeys, and tom or male turkeys. Turkey broilers are marketed at weights between 4 and 6 kilograms, or 9 to 11 pounds, and 10 to 12 weeks of age. Hen turkeys weigh between 6.5 and 7.5 kilograms, or 14 to 16.5 pounds. These birds are generally marketed at 13 to 14 weeks of age. Tom turkeys are birds weighing 14 to 15 kilograms, or 31 to 33 pounds, and are marketed at 17 to 18 weeks of age. The poultry industry has successfully adapted to meet changing consumer demands. Poultry producers use specialized production methods to produce consistent, uniform products ideal for the fast food industry. As well, they have capitalized on consumers' concern for lean, low-fat products. The swine industry has also adapted well to changing consumer needs. Canada's use of a carcass grading system, which rewards producers for lean carcasses, reflects that responsiveness. All aspects of swine production, including breeding, feeding, and management, are geared to the development of a lean carcass. Canadian hogs are recognized worldwide as being lean and of top quality. The swine industry in Canada is concentrated in Ontario and Quebec. Producers in these provinces provide about 2/3 of the pork in Canada. There are a number of terms used to categorize swine. Breeding males are called boars. Castrated males are barrows. Breeding females that have had at least 1 litter are sows. Young females that have not yet had a litter are gilts. Newborns are piglets. Young pigs weighing approximately 25 kilograms or 55 pounds are weaners. And pigs from 25 to 105 kilograms or 55 to 230 pounds are grower-finisher hogs. There are 3 types of swine enterprises. These are farrow-to-finish production, weaner pig production, and finishing pig production. The term farrowing refers to when the sow gives birth. Pork producers with a farrow-to-finish operation have a breeding herd that produces piglets. They also raise the piglets to market weight. In weaner pig production, as in farrow-to-finish, the producers have breeding herds. They raise the young pigs to weaner size of approximately 25 kilograms, or 50 pounds, and sell them to finishing operations. In the finishing operation, producers do not have a breeding herd. Instead, they purchase weaners from weaner producers and raise them to market weight of 100 kilograms, or 220 pounds. Swine producers also use environmentally controlled buildings. The barns are single-storied, well-insulated, and ventilated either naturally or mechanically. Ventilation removes moisture in the winter and excess heat and moisture in the summer. Producers with large breeding herds have sows that are giving birth or farrowing every week. This ensures efficient use of the facilities. It also provides a regular flow of income to the operation, as pigs are ready for market each week. In breeding herd operations, producers let the piglets nurse the sow for approximately 4 weeks. Then, at weaning, producers move the piglets to a heated nursery. They also move the non-milk producing, or dry sows, to a breeding area. Within a week, these sows come into estrus, or heat, and are ready to be rebred. Producers use 2 methods to breed sows with boars: hand breeding and pen mating. In hand breeding, producers determine when a sow is in heat and match her with a selected boar. In pen mating, producers introduce a boar into a group of sows. The boar breeds the sows as they come into heat. Although hand breeding is more labor-intensive, it ensures producers know when successful matings have occurred. Some producers test their sows to confirm pregnancy. Producers house pregnant sows in group pens or individual stalls. They evaluate sows for body condition and provide enough feed to keep them fit, not fat. Some producers use stalls that allow individual feeding and prevent aggressive behavior. In group pens, computerized feeding systems allow for individual feeding. A day or 2 before farrowing, producers prepare the farrowing area. They wash the sows and move them to a farrowing room. Good record keeping helps producers schedule the use of the farrowing facilities. A breeding wheel provides a visual overview of the status of the breeding herd. Additional handwritten or computerized records give a more detailed analysis. Sows give birth in farrowing crates. Piglets stay in adjacent creep areas, where they have access to the sow without the risk of being crushed by the sow. Producers provide heat, water, and starter feed for the piglets. At birth, producers dock piglets' tails, clip sharp needle teeth, and provide a supplementary iron injection. 10 to 14 days later, producers castrate male piglets not intended for breeding stock. Before weaning, producers identify piglets by ear notching or tattooing. Most producers wean piglets at 4 weeks of age, but some wean at 3 to 5 weeks. Producers try to ease the stress of weaning by gradually introducing solid feed over the 2-week period just prior to weaning. This eases the transition from a primarily liquid diet to one based on solid feed. Producers also ensure starter feed rations contain highly digestible nutrients, and they use pens equipped with adequate feeder space to allow all piglets to eat at once. To minimize the risk of disease, producers put the weaned pigs in pens that are warm, dry, and clean. They use pens on raised decks with partially or totally perforated or slatted flooring. This flooring improves sanitation by allowing manure and liquids to fall into a storage area below. Contrary to popular opinion, pigs are naturally very clean animals. Young pigs quickly learn to defecate and urinate over the slatted area. The solid area provides a clean, dry resting and feeding area. When pigs reach 20 to 25 kilograms, or 44 to 56 pounds, producers transfer them to a grower-finisher barn. As with weaner pens, grower pens have a slatted area, a feeding area, and a resting area. Producers raise the pigs to market weight. They weigh the market pigs to ensure that they are within the optimum weight range of 100 to 105 kilograms, or 220 to 231 pounds. Producers aim to raise pigs from birth to market weight in 180 days. Some swine producers use an all-in, all-out housing system in their operation. In this system, all the pigs in one area of the barn are moved at the same time. For example, all the weaner pigs in one farrowing room are moved to an empty nursery room. All in, all out minimizes the risk of disease by allowing producers to clean and disinfect an empty room and to house pigs of different age groups in different locations. In many swine operations, producers use a combination of feeding methods. They provide a continuous supply of dry feed in feeders located in the pens, or they offer small quantities of feed by floor feeding several times daily. Other producers use a liquid diet provided in specially designed feeders. Most swine managers prepare feed rations on the farm. They use homegrown grains along with protein concentrates and vitamin-mineral premixes purchased from local feed suppliers. Producers formulate feed rations based on the nutrient requirements of the pigs and the nutrient analysis of the ingredients. They use on-farm mixing equipment to grind and apportion each ingredient. Producers calibrate their mixing equipment to ensure mixing accuracy. Farrow-to-finish operators may use as many as 6 different formulations for their pigs. After mixing, producers transfer feed to storage tanks by augers, wagons, blowers, or pumps. On some farms, augers move the feed directly to the pens. When pigs reach market weight, producers ship them to meat packers and processors. At the processing plant, a federal government grader inserts an electronic probe into the loin to determine the percentage of lean meat or the lean meat yield of each carcass. This, in combination with the carcass weight, determines a numerical value called a carcass index. The index forms the basis of payment to the producer. Pork producers aim to produce lean, fast-growing, feed-efficient hogs. They achieve this goal by paying careful attention to breeding and feeding programs and ensuring a healthy environment for the animal. Unique production systems in beef, dairy, poultry, and swine have resulted in a high degree of specialization. The Canadian livestock industry operates efficiently and responsibly to produce high-quality products.